So I'm going to build the set of these multiple learning loops. Many of you are familiar with certainly the single loop and double loop distinctions that have been made in our organizational learning work. The single loop is simply you take actions, you produce results. If it's what you want, you move on. If not, you react in the hopes that you get the better aim and you will achieve your results. Nothing wrong with it. Many things that we do in life absolutely depend on our ability to have single loop learning. Right? But when it fails and we continue to take those same actions, that's when we're in trouble, right? That's that definition of insanity. So what it says that we need to then go beyond the single loop and reflect on our mental models, right? The deeper layer of assumptions that drive the action strategies that we're using that produces the results that we are trying to get. And this is what Kurt and Lewin calls their first order change. So I'm going to make a distinction also between first order change and second order change. So the first order change can involve single loop and double loop, where you're either reflecting on your action strategies or going deeper into the prevailing mental models, assumptions that are trapping you in getting the results that you really want. So what's the distinction between first and second order? The blue line is, let's say, your own organization's internal rate of change. Complacency builds in when people only reference their internal rate of change to say, hey, we're definitely not standing still. We're making changes all the time, so we're keeping up, and feel that that's good enough. But what's really relevant isn't just your internal rate, but it's the external rate of change and the relative to your internal rate. If you have been keeping up, then what may be needed is simply first order change. And that has to do with pretty much focusing on your systems, your structures, your policies, and tweaking those things. But if it has been or will continue to accelerate beyond your internal rate, then the second order change that's required is quite different. It needs to focus on the mission, the strategy, the leadership, and the culture of the organization. And these are fundamentally different than the first order change.
Because nature is full of systems, right? And that blending of what we perceive as our systems and nature systems is where I want to go today. But I need to start with this, because as a parent of two children, actually that first slide was my son, a son and a daughter, I'm actually mortified and extremely embarrassed that my generation, us, all of us, created this, right? And like it or not, we designed this. And we designed this. And we live in these communities thinking that they resemble some sort of community, when really it's one monotonous space after another. And even if we don't like it, we designed this as well. You know, the traffic jams that we're stuck in are a measure of our designs, and it turns out, right? And that's where we're taking a second look. Maybe we're not such good designers. But I wonder, all right, we may not want to take responsibility for this, and we might ask ourselves, are they designed systems or are they emergent systems? Right? And is there really a distinction between the two? Designed implies that we've put some intent. Let's see, today I'm going to produce 8 more toxic chemicals and tie up 5,000 more people in a traffic jam. Or are they emergent? And what causes these systems to emerge? And that's, of course, the work that you all do, is asking yourself, what are the guidelines? What are the rules? What are the characteristics? What are the parameters that allowed for these systems to emerge? And if we can tweak those, if we can play with those, if we can design them well, then the resulting emergent system might actually be what we want. So that's really what the study of systems is about. And we all know that systems are more than just components. Right? If you want to understand the system of a paper wasp nest, it is much more than the 125 paper wasps and the following molecular breakdown of carbon and hydrogen and oxygen meshed together with saliva to make paper, and the structure of the honeycombs and so on. But it's actually the relationships between all of those components that defines what a system is. It is the flow of those nutrients. It is the communication among the members of the hive. It is the context and the relationship between the components and the environment that it's in that ultimately results in this actually pretty amazing complex system known as a paper wasp nest.